Hey, Paul, welcome to 66 Questions. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I think, I'm tired at the moment. I think it's coming towards the end of the year, so I'm looking forward to like some downtime. But
Yeah,
still happy. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing air. My wife I haven't been fired. So all things considered, I think not bad, not
sounds
bad. I think
brilliant.
other people are worse. Put it that way.
Yeah, good, good. So listen, Paul, this is season 2 of the Data Strategy Show, 66 Questions, Data Leaders Unplugged. So I'm literally going to get straight into it and ask you those questions. So listen, Paul, you're the data executive at Nedbank in South Africa. You're, got a lot on your plate. You've got a lot of teams to run. How do you set yourself up for your day?
Well, that's actually funny. One of the funny things is because one of the things that COVID and this lockdown has done for me is not give me my separation between home and the office going through the traffic. So what I used to do in the mornings, I used to spend an hour, because it takes us an hour to get to the office, all the traffic. I used to use that time to like sort of get my mental prepared, get listen to some podcasts or inspirational stuff, give my brain some time to find a place where it's ready for the day, pack up a high level to-do list. Now I don't have that, and that was the biggest shake for me now in this COVID. So now when I drop my son off at school, I go and drive around the block 5 times to get that. So now I'm looking for traffic. And, you just need some downtime. You just need a quiet space, the mind in the right gear and the tone for the day. And I miss that. And I have to find space for that now, which came before.
No, I can see that. I can understand because you've got a lot on your shoulders and there's a lot of transformational stuff going on at Nedbank. But listen, about you then, what would you say is your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness?
Yeah.
Trust and patience. Trust and patience are my two biggest weaknesses.
Two biggest weaknesses. On the flip side, then, what's your biggest strength?
I think I'm empathetic. People hurt me. I care about people. So empathy is one of my big things. People gravitate towards me to talk about issues, personal and private and business. So I've got this knack of attracting people to have conversations you would not normally expect to have. Very private conversations. So that obviously see.
Yeah. But I guess that's what comes with being a leader in your position, though. And
well, I don't know. I don't think that's a typical trait either. I mean, stand back and look at leaders, and everybody walks around them. They can't go and speak to him because he's the CEO. I can't approach.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they all go to the toilet.
Yep.
Because they're worried about this rank thing. There's this rank thing that they're scared of. Not necessarily the person, but they're scared of the rank thing. And I see that all the time. They go, but why are you scared of them? I mean, I walk into my CIO's office with no shoes on and funky socks. Like, Fred, I've got a problem. Everybody says, you can't just walk into Fred's office. I go, why not? Why can't I? Is there a rule that says I can't walk into my CIO's office? Is there a rule? I mean, you book a meeting. I'm cool with the meeting. Is there a rule that I have to have a meeting? No. So if he's available, obviously I'm not going to be disrespectful. If I see him on the balcony having a smoke, I'm not going to join him for a smoke. I'm not scared to have a conversation. And there's a story behind that going back many years. But you know what I'm saying? So I think there's that element of me. I don't know if it's good or bad, but that sort of rank doesn't bother me. You could be a rocket scientist. You the same person as I'm speaking to you. I couldn't care, And that does help me a lot in a lot of conversations because I'm not scared to approach. I'm not scared to approach people regardless. I mean, if the president of the United States walked past me, I go and say, how's it?
Well, and you're approachable then as well, aren't you? Likewise. So, that's the same thing. Yeah. So, out of that, what's the biggest learning experience you've had throughout your career?
Biggest learning experience?
Yeah.
Learn.
Yeah. Just to keep learning.
I learned this lesson way too. Typically you go through school, high school, whatever you do on your learning journey, and you stop and you carry on with your life. When I got to about 50, I go, no, you have to learn. And something bit me.
Uh-huh.
And I've now got this insatiable appetite for knowledge. And I wish I had it earlier. So yes, learning has become a passion of mine. And I consume information, in the hordes. I can talk about many topics. I can talk about different technologies, and I read and I read and I read. And I don't read books. Is the other thing, fundamental thing I don't like is interviews. So like, Paul, what's your top 5 books? Like all leaders have got this top 5 books. And, like you have behind you, you've got like a bookcase full of books. Look behind me, I don't have any books. And somebody said, what's your top 5 books? And I go like, I don't really have a top 5 books. Why? I said, I don't read books. If I read books, it's for entertainment. Okay, so let's be clear. If I'm reading books for my professional domain, books are the last thing I read. I read white papers, research papers, blogs, because at the same time it takes you to read a book, I don't know, Taking Leaders from Zero to a Hero, written by Joe whatever in 1989. It's 1,000 pages. By a person who's an expert. By the time you've read 1,000 pages, you've only got one perspective.
Yep.
I can read 1,000 pages and get 10 perspectives, and I can consume it far quicker than you can consume 1,000 pages in a book. So one of the fundamental reasons for me is books don't transfer knowledge necessarily or most efficiently. Great to read, great antidote, great context, get that. But if I'm going to read, and I don't have the time to read a book of 1,000 pages, so I'd rather read 10 100-page theses or 20 50-page blogs. What's it going to do for me? I don't get one side of the conversation. Now I can read diverse. I can read about the topic with diverse points of views. I'll have a broader understanding of a topic around leadership if I read 20 things versus one expert, one book of 1,000 pages that was written 10 years ago.
Yep.
That's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree. I think there's 2 things there. One is, yes, you have this appetite for learning, but for learning the subject that you're currently working around, I guess, transformation, data, cloud, whatever it might be. And there are some people who read just to have that downtime, and they do that. Yeah. So I think there's, everybody's got their own way of being able to learn.
That's why I say, if I read a book, it's for entertainment, not for anything other than
exactly.
Mental escape.
Yeah.
I read a book to do around the profession of my interests. That's not for mental escape. It's not books. It's blogs. It's white papers. It's research papers. And I have access to all of those universities in the States, all the underground research. I don't need to read a book around, what was the guy from GM, the GM guy?
Jack Welch.
Jack Welch. I don't need to read Jack Welch's books on what he did at General Motors. General Motors is old. Why do I really want to read that? It's outdated. And in fact, they're already unwiring it. There's a new train of thought that's more damaging. His perspective is more damaging than any other. So that's 500 pages of what?
Yeah.
I'd rather read 500 pages of relevance that I can get diversity.
Yeah. And that's timely for you. Okay. So listen, what is your favorite time of day? Where are you at your best?
Midnight. Between midnight and between, I would say, 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock in the morning. That's when I'm the most creative.
Okay.
In fact, if I'm presentations or if I'm doing something creative and I really got to think about something, I actually wake up, I set my alarm clock, wake up at 11, go and do my work, and I work from 11 to 1, 2 o'clock.
I do the same. Yeah, I'm the same. So what makes you angry?
What makes me angry? Arrogance, incompetence, and bullying. Okay, arrogance is one of my. I've told you some stories. People. No. Okay. There are a lot of people out there who think they know what they're doing and they're arrogant and they bully people in their perspectives. I hate that. I go from 0 to hero. Be humble. Be humble.
Yep.
You're a leader. You're a thought leader, a company leader. Like the story I was telling you before the podcast. You're a leader in an industry, leading a topic. You're an expert. You're a CEO. Whatever. Be humble. Okay. You are a leader. People look at you for an opinion for something that you have, and they respect you and admire you. Therefore, they look to you. And arrogance is not on my.
Yeah, agreed. So, apart from empathy, what would you say is another big trait of yours?
Creativity is another trait. Is another big one. You've got to be creative. In fact, one of my young managers at Nedbank a few years ago had this conversation, because I'm quite a creative person. So I've acted in movies. I can play 3 or 4 music instruments.
What do you play? What instrument?
Trumpet and saxophone.
Did we have that conversation before? Okay, because I played the trumpet and you. That's brilliant. Okay, well, next time we'll have to have a jamming session. So listen, what are you most excited about these days?
What am I most excited about?
Yeah.
I think there's lots of things that excite me about the word tomorrow. Okay, and one of the things that got me really excited, I've started researching a lot and around Elon Musk. Okay, and I got to this journey because there's some traits he's got, there's things he does that's very pertinent, and there's a lot of crossover into my profession in the data space and the engineering space, data engineering space. There's a lot of things he does which there's rules. They're and what excites me about tomorrow is how he sees the world, and that's not infectious of me. Now I've started to see the world differently just by going through it. And I've got these podcasts that he's done. I've got these time marks where and I make notes. We've got to talk about this in data. This correlates to data. This correlates to agile. And I've got all these time things that I'm putting together in a document. But one thing I stood back the other day and looked at it, and what excites me is his excitement for the future. And I've started turning into that. Funny enough, the future excites me, and you can change the future. One of the things he's came very clear to me was you can change the future. You can change it.
Yep.
Just don't get stuck in the status quo, which is something, as you know, I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
There's a correlation there for me, and I've started becoming excited about the future. I want to go and change things now. I want to go and
amazing.
Create the future that you want. Put it that way. Is
perfect.
And that just spurs me on to read more, know more, and get into all diverse topics. Now I want to. Now it's sort of becoming a self-driving, self-fulfilling prophecy that's picking up momentum. That's why I can't stop reading. Drives my wife insane, by the way. Because in lockdown, she's my experiment, because I don't see people much, so it's her. So every time I come up with a cockamamie idea, she gets the brunt. She's going to kill me. I'm like, oh, I love you, you're my husband, but I'm not your guinea pig. Go and find somebody else.
You'll have to find some kind of mentoring group or some kind of, establish a mastermind group.
I can't even bounce my wacky ideas off her. She's like, no, I'm like too much.
She's patient enough, Paul, with you.
After a year and a half, I think she's come to the end of the road. Like,
gosh. So listen, what's the best compliment in your career you've ever received?
Paul, you made a difference in my life.
When are you? And what?
So not only did he tell me you made a difference in my life, but he explained why I made a difference in his life.
Okay.
And for me, and it was a Nigerian guy, black Nigerian guy, PM. He worked for me. Lon Ray is his name. I still got it here. And he stopped me. And I won't get the comments. I'll send you. He wrote about me on his blog. In fact, he writes poetry. He actually put me into his poetry books. And I thought that was the greatest compliment.
Amazing.
He comes up, he's superlative. I thought about it. And then you see him write about you in his blog in the third person, and then he's in his second book of poetry he published. Nigerian guy, he spoke, he wrote poems about, and I was included in some of this. So I think that is
wow.
That the world's largest compliment. You can keep the rest.
Yeah.
But there it is. It's now in the annals of history. You can't remove it. You're in the book. It's stated. I feel privileged.
Good. So, what makes you smile the most?
What makes me smile the most?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. My dry sense of humor. I always smile knowing that only. And the reason why I'm smiling is you don't know what I'm thinking about. I think it's hysterical, but can you say it? No, I can't say it. So I've got a very dry sense of humor, and sometimes I just burst out laughing, and somebody goes, "Paul, why are you laughing?" I just say, I'm thinking about something that's crazy, and it just tickles my fancy, and I'm laughing. And what makes me smile? Every day I smile. I know you've known me for public I don't go. I don't look for the glass half empty. I look for the glass half full. So happiness is something that you decide on. Being happy, making yourself smile. It's yours. You decide it.
Yeah. True.
If you have a bad day, you can still smile. You can still laugh.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah.
What makes me smile? What makes me smile is me. That's what makes me smile. You decide you're going to smile. You decide you're going to be happy, and you live with that. And forget the world. You pull the finger at the world. Today I'm happy. There's nothing you can do about it. And
Correct.
you move on.
Love
so
it.
When somebody says, what makes you smile? I make me smile. I wake up every day and I put a smile on my face. I enjoy life. I reflect, and I go, there's people worse off than me. I smile. There's a reason to. You choose to be happy.
Yeah.
Choose to be happy.
It's a very good way to be. What's the one thing people don't know about you?
And you think I'm going to tell you?
Well, not the extreme thing, but you can tell me something.
There's a reason why people don't know this stuff. What people don't know. On a serious note, what people don't know is there's very few things in life I haven't done, and there's few I won't do. I'm a very artistic person by nature. I can draw. I've won artistic competitions. When I was younger, I can play music instruments. I was a grade 5 music teacher when I was 16. That means I can teach music at the age of 16. I've acted on stage, and I'm talking proper stage. I've acted in movies. So I'm gravitating. I gravitate towards the artistic side.
And you're a techie, but a creative at the same time. That's amazing.
But
I love it.
So Paul, you got to open up that. What is it? Your left side. You're not great. What do you say? Her name was Mametsi, bless her soul. And she goes, Paul, we've got to get creative, because it was all this sort of, there was a lot of science but no art. A lot of science and no art. And she goes, but you got to, I think, but she's right. I don't apply my art to the science anymore. And you have to exercise the artistic side. And by the way, it just so happens, like, Paul, what happened to you? You used to draw, you used to act, used to play music instruments. You do all the artistic dimensions. You haven't played your trumpet in 23 years. You haven't drawn in 20 years. You haven't acted in 35, 38 years. What changed?
What's going on? Yeah.
What's going on? So a lot of the time now I look for the art in the science. And it's probably why I like a lot of philosophy now and around data. And go and understand the arts, go and understand what art teaches you that science doesn't. Look at the correlations, look at do a lot of reading around the great philosophers of old, or the great scientists of old, and you figure out very quickly, all of our scientists and all of our philosophers are scientists and philosophers. They are not one.
Yep.
They're not.
Yep.
They don't teach you. Then you start looking into education. You go, like, they don't do philosophy. A PhD, what's a PhD? It's a doctorate.
Yep.
It's the philosophy of science. Okay, that's PhD. But do they ever do philosophy in the exam or the doctorate? No, they talk about the science. And if you really get to understand the old world, debate was a very important part of science.
It was.
In fact,
yeah.
One of the laws of science, the ontologies. I don't know if you're aware of the ontologies. Like the ontologies are this word that they tag on when it's a science, like geography and philosophy and it's the words ending in onology, O-N-O-L-G-Y. There's all the words that have an onology on it are defined as a science. And to be called an onology, because why isn't there a word like dataology?
There isn't.
Data, because there isn't one. Because onology comes with 4 laws, and one of the 4 laws is a philosophy. You have to establish a philosophical debate and function to support the science. Otherwise, it can't be called a science. So it's in the definition of a science that you can't be called a science unless you formulate a body to have a philosophic conversation around what that science would do or impact the human race, because that's what the debate is about. If I come up with a new science, that you have to have a debate around how that science will impact the human race and civilization. And that's how the Greeks saw it. That's why philosophy and science are together. And to some degree, that rolls into modern sciences. And we've lost that.
I think you're right. So
biology and geography and sociology. And
I'm going to tell you something really funny. So this weekend, and it's weird how ology has come up. This weekend, I was doing my daughter's spelling test with her. All of her test was all about the ology words. So yeah, now you're speaking about it, and it's hilarious. It's come up. I mean, she had to know what campanology is, the art and practice of bell ringing. I mean, it's crazy.
You should have spoken to me last week, because then I would have said to you, go back to your teacher, whoever's teaching you all this nonsense, and ask the teacher, what are the laws of analogy? What is it in the language that allows it to be called an analogy? Because there's a law around that. You can't just call anything. You have to conform to the laws.
True.
Let me tell you, I can tell you now that most of your teachers and lecturers out there weren't able to tell you the
well, she even said to me, what am I going to do with a word like campanology? I said, I don't know. Maybe it'll come up in a quiz later on in life. Who knows? Listen, what's the most adventurous thing you've done in your life?
Adventurous?
Yeah.
Cape to Cairo.
The what?
Cape to Cairo. Traveled from Cape to Cairo.
Oh, Cape to Cairo. Ah, how did you do that?
Bought a second-hand Land Rover, a Unimog, and me and my cousin and two friends.
And you just did it.
Sold the house, cash in the pension, sold everything we owned, bought a van, plugged it, filled it up, and.
How old were you?
94. When was 94? 93, 92. Yeah, sort of in my sort of early-ish 20s, so 23, 24.
Wow. Amazing. That's incredible. And you just sold everything and you did it.
Sold the house, sold the car, sold everything, sold the furniture, kicked the girlfriend out, resigned from work. Basically, when we were finished, everything we owned was in a Unimog, the four of us. There was nothing else in a Unimog.
And then you started all over again.
Life is like that. That's not the first time I've done it. And I keep saying to people, if you go through hard times, just pick yourself up, do it again. I think I've rebuilt myself 2 or 3 times in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, scrabble, stretch it, wipe the whiteboard clean, start again.
Yeah, start again. So listen,
I'm very comfortable with that. I'm very comfortable with that in myself. And
you need to be a very robust character for that. I think you need to be defined and wired very differently. But let me ask you, how do you define yourself in 3 words?
3 words. Eccentric is definitely one. Humorous.
Yeah.
Social.
What would you say is your most overused phrase?
My most overused phrase? Bullshit.
Okay. What's the best piece of career advice you've ever received?
Best, be resilient. Is probably the best.
Yep.
Never say no. Sorry, I lie. Never say no.
Never say no. Okay. Yep. What's your pet peeve?
My pet peeve? Arrogance.
Do you remember the moment when your career completely changed?
Yes, I can remember about 7 points in my life that have fundamentally shaped the direction of my life, cradle to grave. There's about 7 points in my life, yes.
Okay. Tell me one of them.
One of them. When I got my first job when I came out of the army, and I didn't have a job, and there was no jobs, and I hadn't qualified in anything, and I had nothing, and I was getting depressed, and I went to IBM for an interview, and he said he couldn't see me, that we come on a Saturday, so I went to IBM Park on Saturday morning. I mean, I didn't even have a car. I came out of the army, got nothing, I'm sitting there in my jeans and my shirt and whatnot, and I'm sitting there, and I'm the last guy to go in, and I see all these suits and ties. All these obviously went for the interview with this guy. Suits and ties coming through. Like, I was looking, I'm like, look at me, man. I don't have a degree in computers. I'm sitting here without a suit. I've been full of suits. When you walk around, I've been back in the day, they all had suits. So I'm sitting there in my jeans and khakis and t-shirt. I'm like, maybe I'm in the wrong place. and eventually he goes, Paul, come in. And I went to the office, and he looked at me and goes, I hope you're not like the rest of the 13 people I saw today, because it's really, I'm like done with this lot. And obviously I'm not, because I'm in jeans and a shirt. And my interview with this guy lasted 10 minutes. Didn't talk about anything about the work. I asked him a few questions. I had to report to work on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. It's
Fantastic.
full on. The fact that you came here and you're telling me you like being open to it. There's nothing. You got no bullshit, and I like it. Your jeans and khakis. That tells me something. You're comfortable with yourself, and the conversation didn't last 10 minutes. 10
Wow.
minutes. I was at IBM for almost 18 years, and I
Amazing.
had the opportunity to write, being one of the individuals that wrote the IBM Red Book on TCP/IP protocol back in the day when token ring and all that. So IBM's first delve into the Cat5 TCP/IP was later began, and then I ended my career as a part of an elite SWAT team with IBM in the region, flying around all over Middle East Africa, sorting out problems for IBM, whatever the problem is, because technology, contractual, project management, deployment, really didn't matter. I was one of 5 people, and each of us had unique skills, and wherever IBM had a problem with a customer, they'd send this team in.
You were the hit team, the hit squad.
To go fix IBM's issue.
Yeah.
There's a problem. This customer doesn't want to sign a contract. Big problem. Off you go.
Off
For
you
all
go.
these projects they've wasted, they can't get the integration of the technology working in there. So whatever the problem was,
Great.
went from stations to implementation. So
Great stuff.
it was.
So listen,
together
what makes you feel accomplished?
What accomplished?
Yeah.
When I see the surprise on other people's face.
Nice. Do you have any regrets? Do you have yeah? What's your biggest regret?
I shouldn't have been such an idiot when I was younger for so long. I should have taken my life a little bit seriouser when I was younger. I mean, I've also done pretty much anything that can kill you. So I've jumped out of airplanes. I'm an instructor. I've done kiteboarding. Me and my cousin used to do, I don't know, free climbing, rock climbing without ropes, 400 feet up a cliff with nothing. So a bit of a wild one on those wild sports. Anything that could kill you, I've done. Okay. So if there's a sport that's dangerous, I've probably done it.
Yeah. Amazing. Listen, so what's heavily played on your music playlist right now?
Oh, my music playlist. Great band from the States. Dropkick Murphys. Love them.
Dropkick Murphys. Okay.
Yeah. I like him a couple of reasons. They're not your arrogant, normal band. The guys own the entire music life cycle themselves. He has his own record label because he believes people screaming out. More importantly, he started 3 charities in Boston. So a lot of the band's money goes to supporting these 3 charities in Boston. Down to earth guy. A lot of them, he does a lot of charity work. Very, very busy. Okay, guys. So if you look at the charity all around the States, they're very popular. So
awesome.
Comes up modern day rock band, but the newer stuff is not so punkish. Good rock band, and he's big mates with Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
This put it this way. This band guy, this band, like the guy, the lead singer, Elf. When he has concerts, he brings up his grandmother to the stage. His grandmother comes to all of his concerts.
Brilliant. I love it.
The guy he's down to earth. He's a normal person that plays good, solid rock music. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think everybody's going to be searching for that person on Spotify or the band. So what 3 things are at the top of your bucket list then?
My bucket list. Top 3 things on the bucket list. Hawaii is one. I want to go to Hawaii. It's my bucket list. I couldn't care where in Hawaii, but I want to go. I'm going to Hawaii. Okay. So that's one thing I'm doing. Living long enough to see my kids get married is on my bucket list. Sounds but I had my kids late in life. I think I was 40 when my first one was born. So by the time they get to university, I'm in the 60s.
Yeah. Same as I will be as well.
Yeah. So I just want to be around. That's definitely on my bucket list. I ain't dying until I've done that. Okay, let's be clear. My bucket list. I want to attend my kids' weddings, especially my daughter's wedding.
Okay.
That's my bucket. Cool. That's on my bucket.
Good.
To be that. The other one is, of all things, funny enough, going to Disney.
Oh, you want to do that, do you? Okay.
I want to go to Disneyland and Orlando. I want to go to the Space Center, Orlando, and Disneyland. That's on my bucket. Yes, I'm a 50-year-old kid.
Good for you. You've got to live like that, right? What's your guilty pleasure?
A guilty pleasure. I think smoking and whiskey.
Okay.
Cigars and a good whiskey, a good single malt
I love
Scottish
it.
whiskey.
I love it. Yeah. So listen, if you could go back in time, what would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Stop your shit, pull yourself together.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could switch lives with one person for a day, who would it be?
Who would it be? Elon Musk, I think.
Okay. What's the most ridiculous fact that you know?
The most ridiculous fact I know. I don't know.
Doesn't matter if you don't know. It's all right.
I'll come back to that one. Mine's gone blank.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. I know it does. Some of these questions throw people. If you could resurrect one person from history and put them in the world today, who would it be?
One person from history. You put him right here.
Put them, whoever they might be.
Isaac Newton. Definitely Isaac Newton.
Okay. Why is that?
I would slap him. I would slap him first. I would slap him. Do it right. Great idea. Stuff is done, but you really screwed up civilization for the next 300 years with this whole industrial age bullshit. I would slap you first. You could have landed different. Problem around Isaac Newton is he influenced a lot of scientists that he wasn't here. So if you go back to his time with Isaac Newton, a lot of other scientists, his peers, there's a lot of other peer scientists at the period. What they don't tell you, is Isaac Newton spent a lot of time with all of them, helping them with their own research, but never credited him with it. So Isaac didn't just do his stuff. All the other peers of his time, he spent a lot of time and they didn't credit him. So I'll definitely slap him, man. He cocked this one up big time. It's either him or Tesla.
Nikola Tesla.
I think there's two people that could fundamentally have a second chance of the boat here.
Cool. What's the one thing you wish you knew at the age of 19?
What I know now.
Okay. If you were not living in South Africa, where would you be living?
Where would I be living? Vietnam.
If you could offer one piece of advice to upcoming data leaders, what would it be?
Know yourself first.
Yep. Where was the best vacation you've ever taken?
Best vacation I ever took? The Red Sea.
What's the one city you've always dreamed of traveling to?
Miami.
What was the best lesson your parents ever taught you?
Understanding that you're born with nothing and you die with nothing is fake. You're born with nothing and you die with your name and you die with the potential of making an impact and leaving that impact behind you. That's what they told me. And they said to me, think about this very carefully. Two things when you get into a grave, the only thing that you've got is your name.
Yeah.
And the influence you had by changing one person's life. Because they'll remember those two things.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. What's your favorite food?
Pasta. Got to be
pasta.
A good lasagna or a good arrabbiata. Yeah.
Oh, I love arrabbiata. Apart from mine, and again, this is not a question that I want you to say it's mine, but what is your favorite podcast?
My favorite podcast?
Yeah.
And I think the last one we did, it was just like
loose. I know it was loose, but I mean, don't just say it's because I'm interviewing you. Yeah, are there other podcasts that you would say that was,
Yes, it is. I forget the name now. It's a guy that teaches kids. He's a refugee from Lebanon. He's now staying in the States. He's a professor at a university, but he's got this podcast that he does for very young children, and they teach them about motors, currents, how does it work. But he's so funny because every time he does it, and he does it in such a way where it appeals to like the 12 and 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
He shocks him at least 5 times in every show. Okay. And he's hilarious. But he's got such a way of engaging science with these youngsters on his podcast. If you're interested, I'll send you.
Yeah, send it to me. I'd love it because my daughter's 10. So Yeah.
My son knows this guy. He thinks it's hysterical. And he goes through all the science, ACDC, gravity. How does a microwave? Oh, the microwave one was hysterical. I think he could do
Oh,
great.
brilliant. Send it to me.
It's great. It really is. And I think I'll watch it just because it's that humor in the background. Like, you love to see people get shocked and zapped. And you never know. I'll watch it because I want to see what is he going to do to himself in this one.
Yeah.
It is hysterical. Like,
Brilliant.
I love it. I really enjoy it. But you learn something. The kids
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. So listen, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What's a movie that made you cry?
What the movie I made, I cry.
What's a movie that made you cry? Yeah. Are there too many?
No, I don't think there's a movie that I cried. Believe me, elaborate. You don't believe me. I remember exactly 2 occasions where I cried in my life.
Uh-huh.
Wow. I don't. Maybe there's something wrong with my tear ducts, but I've only ever cried twice in my life, and a movie wasn't one of them.
Okay. Who would you say is your biggest inspiration?
Biggest inspiration. My biggest inspiration. Wow. Man, there's so many. I'd say my grandfather is probably my biggest inspiration.
Okay.
He was.
Okay. And what about him made you feel so inspired? What was it?
He was to the point, but he had wisdom in him. He had, he shared wisdom, and he said many things over many parts of his life, and he gave me a lot of wisdom. And the last time he gave me a piece of wisdom was probably about 3 hours before he died, when I was in the ambulance going to the hospital when he died of a heart attack. And he knew it. He knew his ticket was up. He was like, I'm done. That's it. And I go, so, and it always stuck with me. That shaped a lot of things in my life. It shaped my personality. Put it this way, it was so foundational in nature, be it so small, but so foundational that it shaped a lot of my character of what you see today.
Beautiful. Yeah. What's the one talent you wish you had?
One talent. Playing golf. It's either golf or a Formula One racing driver.
Amazing. Yeah. I think everybody would love that. What's your favorite exercise, if you have one?
Nothing.
What's the one data trend that you dislike?
Statistics.
What's that?
Stats.
Yep. Okay, statistics. What's a superpower you wish you had?
Invisibility.
What's something you won't be doing in 10 years' time?
Talking to you. And that's only because I'm going to die in 5. Okay.
That'd be silly. That'd be silly. You'll still be talking to me.
What am I going to do? What am I going to be not doing in 10 years? Working 18 hours a day. That's what I'm not going to be doing.
Yeah. Looking back on your life, is there anything you would have done differently?
Oh yeah, hundreds of things. I'm not an arrogant person to say that there's nothing I would have changed. I mean, that's just pure arrogance.
Yeah.
Everybody, moments they want to go back and they have regrets and they want to change. There's plenty of them. Don't be arrogant and go through life and say, I have no regrets. You're talking nonsense. Okay.
What's the best thing that happened to you this year?
Best thing that's happened to me this year. It's been a slow year, I must admit. Nothing really.
No?
I've been sitting in this room for like, I don't know, 18 months.
Okay, so what movie makes you laugh the hardest?
What movie makes you laugh? One of those guys. Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke.
Oh, you like them?
Those guys are legends.
They are mad. They're mad. Do you believe in second chances?
Absolutely. Everybody deserves a second chance. And a third.
And a third. Good, good. What 3 words best describe your leadership style?
Pragmatic, energetic, and creative.
What are currently your top 3 data challenges?
Top 3 data. Integration, agility, understanding.
And what are the 3 words that would describe living in South Africa?
Unique. Yeah, unique and unique, resilient, opportunistic.
What's the one thing you had to learn the hard way?
Like,
How do you handle pressure in your career?
swear a lot, slam a table, kick the dog. Pretty much it.
Apart from statistics, is there another trend that you would like to see disappear forever?
Yes, outliers. Kills me. I've got this philosophical way of the work. I look at these. Let's talk about data science quickly before I digress.
Yeah.
They talk about clustering and these clustering models, and then around the edge, they've got one or two like outliers that sit up there. No, we want to make the model run efficiently. Let's get rid of the outliers. Like, they strip out all the outliers, and they're just left with this set of clusters, the information. Like, why do you want to do that? I don't understand. And maybe I'm not a data scientist. Okay, so maybe there's a reason, but I'm not one. But like, why do you want to do that? Because the cluster is what everybody knows. If you think about it, as data science, if everything's clustered, it's what everybody's doing. It's what everybody's doing. That's why it's in a cluster. They're all close together. They're all tightly packed. They all have something strongly in common. They all have a perspective that's in this, that's together. Well, you're going to learn nothing from that besides everybody's basically doing the same thing. If you think, now I'm using the analogy. The outlier that sits like on the other side of the map, he's doing something that everybody else is not doing, but he's still on the map. Why is he on the map? Why is he unique? And that's where my question always comes in. It's like, why is that dot? Why is that outlier unique? Why isn't that dot here with all the other guys? And I'm not saying the dot is right. I'm not saying the dot is right.
You're just asking the question though. Yeah.
What makes that dot unique? And if you exclude him from your calculations and formulas, there's information that you've taken out of your model that you should be looking at, because maybe that information can give you insight of why is there in the first place. And maybe it's a good thing. Let's remove backpackers bias. Maybe the 99 people all sitting in this cluster are wrong. Maybe it's the one guy that's up there that's actually right, but you just removed him from the model, that information. And I'm going, forget about the clustering, what everybody else is doing. What you should be looking at is this information on the outside, because that's the information you want to know. It's not the stuff in the middle. All that tells you everybody's doing the same thing. So what? Like, okay, it looks like it's fine. Now, I know that analogy doesn't apply to everything. I get that. I'm just using this as an analogy of trying to describe. Like, don't remove the outliers. And for me, that's one of my big bugbears. Like, guys, why do you want to do that? There's a reason there. It's the same as a Gartner quadrant model. Got a top 5, and everybody's up there at the top 5. But you got this one guy over there. Like, why is he there? He must be doing something to get on the chart in the first place. There must be value there. Even if it's only him in this quadrant and everybody's up here, there's a reason why he's there. You can't say, I don't want to look at him. You only want to look here. But why is he there? And why is that customer that has the tool using it? So maybe, why would a customer use a tool that no one's heard of, that's not performing in the top quadrant and quartile? There must be a reason why that customer's chosen as a very specific tool that puts that tool here and not there. Although it's not, it might not be good, but there's a reason why a customer is using him like that. Well, so what's the reason? That's the question. And that kills. Sorry, you're going to give me on my bugbear, but that's the one.
We should have done that on pet peeves. So this is the last question, Paul. What did you want to do with your life at age 12?
Be an architect. And I might still go back when I retire. I might go back to university and I might land up getting my architectural degree.
Another 7 years of doing that.
What else I want to do?
Learning. I don't know. Write a book.
I'm busy writing a book anyway. So I am writing a book. That's the one creative art I haven't done yet. That and poetry. I think I would have done all of them. But no, I mean, I still want to be an architect. I still want to do an architect. I still want a degree by my name that says Paul's an architect. It's something I always wanted. It's like, maybe there's an opportunity, maybe there isn't. It's probably one of my bucket list items.
No, that's awesome. Paul Morley, thank you so much for your time. I've had so much fun to get to know you and basically Paul Morley Unplugged. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy.
Cheers.
Great to meet you.